It's been 90 days since I left Hawaii and moved back to the Bay Area. Now, I lived in Honolulu for 4 years, so the move back has been a transition. This isn't just a different location, it's a shift in what I see, what I feel, and who I'm becoming. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the transition of me being back in the Bay Area, and I'm gonna break it down through these 3 layers. 1, surface changes, the outward everyday differences. 2, culture and belonging, how life values and connections feel in the Bay versus Hawaii. And 3, identity and reinvention, what this move has opened up for me as I turn 40. As for context, I was born and raised in the Bay Area. I've moved and traveled around the world, and Hawaii was definitely a pivotal chapter in my life. It's where I stepped into who I was supposed to be. And now I'm back in the Bay Area, navigating what it looks like to be a different version of myself. All right, so let's begin. First, let's talk about the surface changes, the outward everyday differences. So I'll be honest, moving back, I felt a little out of place at first because the first thing I noticed was that skinny jeans are no longer in style. Let me tell you, when I left San Francisco for Hawaii in 2020, they were in style. Now coming back in 2025, skinny jeans are no longer in style. So I did not wear jeans or pants for the 4 years I was in Hawaii. So that's the first difference I have noticed. And quite truthfully, I am not going to get another pair of jeans. I don't even like wearing jeans. In fact, you may have noticed in all my walking B-roll footage, I wear black leggings. I don't even know if they're in style, but I'm gonna keep wearing them. Okay, but honestly, this wardrobe shift alludes to the weather. And when I moved to Hawaii 4 years ago, I did a lot of videos about the differences between San Francisco and Hawaii. And this video right here alludes more to what I'm talking about. I'm packing to fly from Hawaii to San Francisco tomorrow, and I have noticed an extreme difference in what I'm packing and how differently I dress in San Francisco. Let me break this down for you. For tops on the island, I wear a lot of tank tops in color. And for my trip back home, I'm packing a long sleeve navy blue cardigan. Here, as my kind of overthrow, I wear a lot of these flowy, flowery things. I'm packing a vest and also this black raincoat. Here for bottoms, I'll wear shorts or a colorful wrap skirt. I'm packing black leggings and jeans. I literally haven't worn jeans in over a year. For hats, I always wear this big hat. In San Francisco, I'm gonna be wearing this beanie. Keep me warm. And then we have shoes. I always wear slippers. I'm going back to closed toe. And one thing I'm packing that I haven't worn in a long time is socks. A lot of this is driven by the weather. It'll be interesting to see how my body reacts to not being in 75-degree weather all the time. 60 degrees might be freezing. I might get hypothermia. So basically in Hawaii, it's more laid back. Slippers, shorts, t-shirts, a lot of aloha wear. And in the Bay Area, it's also pretty laid back, but in a different way. At least when I left 4 years ago, a lot of people wear Patagonia and North Face fleeces. I mean, I still wear my North Face fleece from 2010. Are they still in style? I don't know. If you are in the Bay Area, comment below, let me know. Okay, but let's move on from the weather and clothing. Another outward shift is accessibility. And this can all be explained by one word: Trader Joe's. That's right, there is no Trader Joe's in Hawaii. As a side note, if you ever go to Hawaii, bringing Trader Joe's gifts is a very good idea. Hawaii is a small island, so there's limited access to certain things. And in Hawaii, at least on the island of Oahu, there's a large Asian population. So there's a lot of different Asian foods, a lot of variety. But it is nice being back in the Bay Area and having access to different types of foods as well, such as Ethiopian, Nepalese, African, Indian, and more. Okay, and the third thing on the surface level is the cost of living. And quite honestly, the cost of living is high in both places, depending more on which island or what part of the Bay Area you live in. So I haven't had to deal with so much of a shift there. But let me tell you, coming back to the Bay Area, I say, wow, an oat milk latte is now $8. Interesting, but you know, the islands are not far behind. So that's just inflation for you. So those are the shifts I feel on the surface level. But deeper than that, let's move on to point number 2, culture and belonging. And for that, I'm gonna go somewhere else. That's right, going on a walk. You know, I was standing. Sometimes in these videos, I like to mix it up, the background. I want to sit somewhere. All right, so point number 2, culture and belonging. I have definitely felt the difference in how people connect. I actually talked about this in a video I made 4 years ago. Differences I've noticed since moving from San Francisco to Hawaii. Hanging out with people is very different. In San Francisco, you plan 3 weeks in advance to meet someone at a Friday at 4 p.m. at Sight Glass Coffee, and then you send a Google Calendar invite. And then last minute, the person cancels on you because they have work. Here in Hawaii, my friend will call me and say, "Hey sister, what are you up to?" "I'm watching YouTube videos." "You want a cruise?" Okay. "All right, I'll scoop you up soon. Shoots." And I'm just like, he didn't say what time he was coming, what day of the week, what we're gonna do. No details at all. He just is gonna scoop me up. In terms of when people say I'll be there soon, I've determined that that's anywhere between 30 minutes to 2 hours. Hawaii flows more and the Bay Area is more scheduled. And there's no right or wrong way, it's just different. But let me tell you, I have learned that there is a new app or website for planning now. Before, it was Evite. Now it's Partyful. It's all very thrilling, really. This spontaneity and being in the present isn't just about time, it's about culture. In Hawaii, community is baked into the culture. It's a way of life. Ohana, hospitality, showing up for other people. Kindness means everything there. Here in the Bay, community is different. It's something we might intellectualize or analyze it more. We build a community feature into our mobile apps and we pitch the concept in a VC deck. You know, I say this as someone who used to work in tech. I worked at Google, and then before I moved to Hawaii, I was a marketing director at early stage startups. And I see the benefits of technology. It's helped us stay connected. There's nothing like meeting with someone face to face. And in addition to community, politics is also different in Hawaii and the Bay Area. And I'm not referring to how people vote because both states lean blue. I'm referring to more of how people talk about politics. In the Bay Area and in the US mainland, I feel like politics are a lot more front and center. People discuss it, it's very in your face. But Hawaii feels like a different country altogether. Now, I'll give an example. Even during this past election in 2024, on election day, I didn't hear anyone talk about the results. And I actually mentioned that to someone who was local. I said, I've noticed in Hawaii, people don't talk about who you vote for, or it's just not really known. And she's like, yeah, that's just what we do. So I also don't know if this is partially because of the Asian influence in Hawaii as well. At least on Oahu, Asian is the majority. So sometimes Asian cultures don't talk about politics as much. So I don't know, if you live in Hawaii and you want to give insight into this, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I just see that culturally politics are viewed very differently. And in Hawaii, no matter if you vote Republican or Democrat, what is more important is the culture of Hawaii and ohana. Like being hospitable and showing aloha to people is more important than if you're a Democrat or Republican. In Hawaii, regardless of how you vote, you find a way to get along with people. Also, in discussing culture and belonging, it's important to note what each place values. I talked about this in another video. Within the last few months, I moved from San Francisco to Hawaii, and then I quit my Silicon Valley tech job to pursue building my own coaching business. And one thing I've thought a lot about is the social currency of a place. In San Francisco, the social currency is what you do for work. And here in Hawaii, the social currency is how much aloha you have. This is evident in the first question people ask you. When I'm in the Bay Area, the first question is, what do you do? Here, the first question is, where are you from? In the Bay Area, your worth is in what you achieve, whereas here in Hawaii, people don't measure you based on your job. I tell people, oh, I recently quit my job, and they're like, cool. Want to go surf now? Like, no one cares what you do for work here. Honestly, being in Hawaii where people don't judge you gave me the confidence to quit my tech job and pursue what I'm truly passionate about. And for that, I thank Hawaii. Okay, so to preface, I was new to Hawaii and a very burnt out tech worker when I did that video. So now, 4 years later, I have learned more. So in Hawaii, the question is, where are you from? Your family, your history, and your roots are important. And if you're local, there is a privilege. And if you aren't local, you feel it. By local, I mean born and raised. In the Bay Area, it's what you do. Your job, your title, your LinkedIn profile, it's important. You know, there's definitely a sense of ambition in the Bay Area. People come here to build things. And with that comes pressure, hustle culture, and burnout. And now removed, I see the pros and cons to both. And while we're talking about identity, I want to add this, that being Asian is different in Hawaii and the Bay Area. In Hawaii, on the island of Oahu, you are the majority if you're Asian. So you're in a position of privilege. In the Bay Area, there's also a large Asian population, but it's more in communities and you're part of the bigger ecosystem of the US where being Asian has its assumption. This is a longer video about being Asian. You know, I've thought a lot about Asian identity, the Asian diaspora, and more. I've traveled to over 30 countries. In addition to living in San Francisco and Hawaii, I've lived in the Midwest, London, and Hong Kong. And you know, being Asian, being a female Asian, it's all very different. So if you want the analysis on what it's like to be Asian in different places, let me know. And this Asian auntie will give you the breakdown. All right, so third point, identity and reinvention. Amidst all the change, the Bay Area still feels like home, where I was born and raised. And a large reason I moved home was to be closer to my family, especially my aging parents. I don't regret that. And there's been highs and lows, but it's where I know I'm supposed to be. Now, I definitely miss Hawaii, swimming in the oceans and my community there. And I feel empowered to reinvent myself here in the Bay Area. As context, I largely grew on social media through sharing about my life in Hawaii. I grew to over 220,000 followers on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And at times I felt boxed in to only talking about Hawaii because I got a lot of positive feedback for that. And ultimately, I knew I didn't want to be a Hawaii tour guide. I wanted to share my journey with you. And part of that was when I was in Hawaii, so I talked about that. But being back in San Francisco, I feel like I can evolve. And honestly, it was really interesting growing a platform in Hawaii because I did get recognized a lot in person, probably 50% of the time I went out. And that's something I just didn't really think about when I started to grow a platform. So on the island of Oahu, there's 1 million people. I would go out in public and get recognized, and I saw what parasocial relationships are like because people, they knew me and they knew my story, but I didn't know anything about them. So it was really interesting. And I'm so thankful for the community I built. I'm so thankful that people were able to interact with me and engage with me and they felt comfortable saying hi. And at times I felt like I couldn't be myself. It was interesting being a public figure and having to navigate that and not having other people to talk to about that. Because honestly, of my peers, I'm the only person I know who does what I do. So even if I would talk to some people about cyberbullying or hater comments or just having an online presence, not many people can relate to that. Being back in the Bay Area over these last 90 days, I've gotten recognized maybe at most 3 times, once a month. I can deal with that. Super exciting. Yeah, so I think it just gives me some more freedom and creativity. The easy thing for me to do would be to continue talking about Hawaii and the Bay Area, do similar content about the Bay Area, but ultimately I don't want to be a location-based creator and I just want to share my life with you. And part of that is this next chapter as I'm turning 40. I've been doing videos about that starting over at 40. I posted some on YouTube where I cried a lot. It was all very real. Part of me thinks, okay, Joanna, take this down. That's a little cringe, but the reality is that was how I felt in the moment. So it will live on the internet for all of eternity. Turning 40 was challenging for me because my life wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought I would be married and have kids by now. And I also see the blessing in my life and I see how God has blessed me and I'm so thankful to be who I am. So I started to kind of reinvent myself and sharing more of that journey, sharing more about starting over at 40. I've talked about it on Instagram and the other platforms as well. And I feel like I'm stepping into this true version of who I am. And I think it might attract a different audience, a different community. Some of my community who followed me for Hawaii might stay with me, some might not. But I feel like the new people who are coming into this community will see a different side of me and they might also be at this pivot point in their journey where they're reinventing themselves. So in closing, the Bay Area feels like the Bay Area. It's an adjustment. And I miss Hawaii. I'm nostalgic for it, especially my community there. And I realized that it was a chapter in my life that I am so grateful for. I wouldn't have the courage to reinvent myself at 40 and start over if I didn't first leave the version of who I was in Silicon Valley. And Hawaii provided the space for me to do that. I will forever be grateful to Hawaii for giving me the space to step into who I knew I needed to be. So that's where I'm at. If you resonate with anything, would love to hear in the comments below. Also, I'm restarting my newsletter soon. You can sign up using the link in the description. And until the next video, stand tall in who you are.